Hello writers, come write with me. My name is Mykela Greenwood. I create worlds for mind adventures. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Write with Mykela. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you can go on this journey with me. Before we start today, I missed liquid alliteration last Tuesday, so I will define it quickly here. Liquid alliteration is a focus on words using repeated L or R sounds. These sounds are more fluid and light nature than other letters. And remember, alliteration is my favorite tool, and I hope you have fun with it. Now today, we are going to talk about emotions. First, I want you to make a list of 10 emotions. If you can think of more, then add them to your list. If you can only think of 7 and you're 7 years old and you only think of 7, that's fine. But as you get older, you start to know that there's a lot of emotions that have several labels. So make a list. We will be using this list next Tuesday as well as other writing days. So save your list. Okay, pause the video. Write your list, and then come back for instructions. Welcome back. I'm going to share my list, and then we'll discuss the assignment. Number 1, anger. Number 2, fear or anxiety. That's what I was talking about. Some emotions have more than one label, and sometimes fear might be more intense than anxiety, but they both kind of describe the same thing. Number 3, joy. Number 4, happiness. Number 5, love. Number 6, hate. Number 7, peace. Number 8, sympathy. Number 9, sadness or despair. And number 10, disgust. Ugh. Now your list may be different than mine, and that's okay. Also, you may have had mad instead of anger, and that's okay as well. I want you to look at your list and focus on 2 emotions that you remember experiencing. From the 2, you will pick one to use to write with today. Your assignment is basically to write the scene where you were happy or sad or angry or whichever emotion you chose. It's okay to write in first person, meaning you use I, like I saw, I felt, said to me. In other words, you are in the scene. I want you to try to remember everything that happened. If you were scared and your arm hairs stood on end, you're writing that. Or if a person's stare sent chills down your spine, write that. Write everything you saw, smelt, felt, heard, or tasted. I want us to write all these things that went along with the emotions we felt inside of us. You can think of it like a journal entry. Now, let's start. Welcome back, writers. I hope your scene didn't rile you up too much as you remembered it and wrote it down. Now, I will share what I wrote. Here we go. It was after school, and I was in my room calmly doing my homework. I had already done my chores when suddenly my mother came in my room and said harshly, "Why didn't you put the dishes away?" I replied, "Because I washed them. It is my week to wash dishes." My mother was clearly angry with me, and she said, "Christy says she washed the dishes. It doesn't matter whose week it is. If she washed them, then you have to put them away." I was super angry at this point. My emotions constricted my throat and my heart, and I was shaking within. I knew it was pointless to argue with my mother. Once my mother left the room, I gripped my fist in anger and I let out a moan. I felt I could break every dish or strangle my sister. Life was so unfair. There was no justice in this house. I spiraled back in time in my thoughts, and I remembered another day when my sister and I were much younger, and I was just sitting in my room organizing my toys so that I can clean my room as my mother had commanded me to do. Then, on that day, my mother had suddenly stormed into my room. She was very angry with me, and she demanded to know why I had hit my sister. I remember being confused that day. I hadn't even been in the same room with my sister to even touch her. My mother accused me of lying, and I told her that I wasn't lying, that Christy was lying. My mother said, "Why would she lie about that? Besides, she's too young to lie." That day, there was no justice either, because my mom forced me to clean Christy's room as well as my own. I groaned inward again. But also, I wanted to cry. I always got in trouble, no matter how much I tried. And I knew that if I did break a dish, my mom would automatically accuse me of doing it on purpose and not accidentally dropping it because I was shaking. There was no outlet for my anger, however. So, I turned it inward, and I shook inside. I wanted to die. I didn't want to live. What was so wrong with me that my mother couldn't love me? I desperately yearned for my mother's love. Why did she always have to take Christy's side? Why did I have to do Christy's chores? And why did my mom still pay Christy the same she paid me? I saw no way out other than death. I knew killing myself was against the 5th commandment, "Thou shalt not kill." But everyone was supposed to pray. So I prayed for death. I prayed for God to take my life because I saw no way out. As I thought of these things, tears poured down my face, and I lost what little hope I had of anyone ever loving me. My breath came in short spurts, and I was sniffling. Moreover, I reasoned, hell could not be as bad as what I was suffering alive. Tears continuously streamed down my face, and my whole body convulsed. I knew I had to pull myself together and wash my face because I had to put the dishes away before my mother put supper on the table. Yet the more I thought about the injustice, the more my tears flooded down my face, and the more I hated Christy. I also knew that if I died, my mother would be happy because she wouldn't have to deal with me anymore. She would only have the daughter that she wanted, and the daughter that didn't embarrass her, and the daughter she didn't regret having. No one would notice my death. I wiped my tears on my shirt as my heart pounded in my chest. My face was very hot and beet red at this point, and it would take a lot of cold water to make it look normal. But I had to pull myself together and go do Christy's chores, since she lied and said she did mine. Okay, writers, give me a few seconds to calm down. Okay, now, I'm sure I showed a lot more emotions than I actually wrote or read to you. It is hard for us as writers to go back to these moments of emotions, but it is important. It's important to get in touch with those feelings. Every good book connects its readers emotionally to the characters in the story. If your story doesn't emotionally connect your readers, then your readers won't root for or against your characters, and they may not even read to the end of your story. The emotional connection is very important. I remember as a teacher, I would ask my students what they were reading, and I would read some of the books they read. I read one popular book at the time, but I felt no connection to the main character or to any of the characters in the story. I did read the entire book, but I didn't enjoy it. And I didn't watch the movie. I also didn't buy the second or third books and read them. Sometimes readers will finish if they belong to a book club. But most of your readers probably aren't in such a club. Therefore, you want to hold their interest so they don't put your story down. Now, that's not to say that your readers need to love your characters. I have a character in my Mykela series that my youngest daughter absolutely hates. She definitely hates this character. If he was alive, she could strangle him. She asked me why I had to put him in the story, and she wants to know if he is going to die. He deserves death, or whatever is what she said. So, I know she has an emotional connection to that character. That character's name is Prince Jarul. You can read his biography or bio on my website when my website is finally up at www.bymykela.com. When you're writing a story, you can't just say, John was angry. And you can't assume, telling the actions of the story, that your readers will assume John's emotions correctly. That goes into all kinds of stories, like the two twin brothers. One with their best day was the twins' worst day. So you can't just tell the action. You have to tell the emotional connection. Different people react to things differently. This exercise was to help you get in touch with some of your emotions. Today, I got in touch with some very unpleasant emotions. They're historic, but they're there. They're inside of you. So I can remember those emotions when I have a character that is angry and then turns to despair. I can remember my flood of tears and write that in the story to help my readers understand what my character is going through internally. I can remember how I yearned for my mother's love and didn't receive it. And then I can write about a character that loves someone, but that someone doesn't return the love. It's not there. Writing is not all about action. There has to be emotions involved. Without emotions, a happy ending is just an ending. A tragedy is not a tragedy. It's just an event. Without emotion, your story may read like a textbook. Emotions draw your readers in and make them feel like they're part of the story. When they get connected, they get into the story. It makes your readers feel like they know your characters. I hope you enjoyed writing your own scene about yourself. I know these are more personal, but if you care to share them, then send them as a PDF or Word document to writewithmykela@gmail.com, or leave a comment below on which emotion you wrote about. If I read them on the channel, I will need written permission and your age. If you are under 18 years old, then I need permission from your guardian to read it on the channel. If it's too personal for me to read on the channel, but you still want me to read it, then make a note of that. Mine was very personal. I didn't expect to cry while I was writing it, but then tears flooded down my face as I wrote it. And I assure you, I'm in a much different place now than I was back then. My sister and I get along now. You know, we're texting buddies and stuff like that. And so we're in a different place. We're not the same, kids trying to get the best of mom and, all those kids spit spats or whatever that we had back then and the emotions that go with that. We're adults now. So, but that doesn't mean I didn't have those emotions. It doesn't mean that I can't connect to those emotions. Now I can use those emotions to my benefit, and so can you. Join me on Friday for Chapter 7 of The City of the Ancients. The chapter title is The Cave. And join me next Tuesday for another writing exercise with emotions. So keep your list from today. I hope to see you on both days. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell if you haven't already done so. That way we can continue writing together. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your participation. If you know someone who would like this video, then please share it with them. This is Mykela with Write with Mykela. Bye for now.